All right. Hello. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you once again for attending our bi-weekly Zoom training. Today we will be approaching a very interesting topic. I think if you have followed me through the whole series of the gut, I think by now you would realize that it is actually a very untapped potential. All right, there are a lot of new discoveries and a lot of surprising findings and insight about how it links to our health, and new connections are being formed about how it will affect our metabolic health. Okay, so today we'll be touching a very different aspect, but still in relation of what we have discussed about this whole area on gut health. All right, so are you excited? Okay, I'm sure with this, I hope that you'll be even more convinced with the amazing range of products that Unicity have for you. All right, so give me a moment as I share my screen. Okay, so I hope you are seeing my screen well. All right, now let's start. Okay, I think this goes without needing to say much. I think we all understand that we are entering a very medical dependent society. And when you go to the doctor, when you're not feeling well, they will give you a Panadol straight. Okay, so we have already become a very dependent on medicine to solve a lot of our daily problems. And unfortunately, today, we are still a very symptom and pain based society, that we solve problems based on pain and discomfort. But doctors, unfortunately, don't really take the time to understand the patient enough and to resort to the root problem. Okay, and because of this, there's a lot of drug-related complications such as misuse of medication, and because of that, we end up our body don't respond to medicine that well already. Okay, that our body become resistant, and that can produce a lot of problems health-wise. Okay, and as we go through today's presentation, you realize that this is a much bigger problem than just taking medicine itself. Okay, because it says that more than 1,000 marketed drugs show that non-antibiotic drugs inhibit or interfere the growth of gut bacteria strains. Okay, I think we spoke about antibiotics a lot. Okay, so I'm not going to touch on that topic, but we all know that antibiotics is bad, right? So how about the many other drugs that we have out there, like your metformin or the cholesterol medicine or the Panadol that you take? Okay, so what are the impacts of all these day-to-day drugs that we go to the drugstore and get, and how it interferes or how does it affect our gut bacteria? So apparently this study says that it does a study, a widespread study, to see the impact of all these generic drugs. And apparently it interferes with the growth of some really important gut bacteria strains. Okay, so some of these classified drugs are gastric medication, metformin, pain relief medication, antidepressant, and laxative. Okay, so these are very common medicine that I'm sure you have taken it in your lifetime, or you have known of a friend or a family member are on this for a lifetime. Okay, and some of them, they don't really have the choice, but they have to take this in order to curb their existing problem. Okay, so things like gastric medication, apparently if you neutralize your gastric, okay, if you have too little, or if they have to purposely lower down your gastric, it will affect the pH level of your gut, and that will also uh, change the type of bacteria that will flourish in the gut. Okay, and of course, antidepressant laxative apparently is quite bad. All right, we're talking about those that have very severe constipation problem. We're talking about on the counter laxative. Okay, those actually, because you forcefully force a person to purge, and this can cause a lot of damage and a lot of changes in gut. All right, so these are some of the findings which I'm quite surprised, because I thought it's just only antibiotic. Okay, and so it actually increased what we call drug-resistant bacteria. Okay, so what does this mean? All right. Okay, so this is what we call resistant bacteria. So this is all your bacteria in your body, okay, the existing bacteria that you have. So you have one or two strain that is resistant. It means it doesn't react to antibiotic A. All right. So if you have some of these bacteria in your body, this is why your doctor says you must finish your antibiotics, right? Because if you don't finish your antibiotics, if you have one or two bacteria still alive there, it can be a problem. So the next round, if you were to take another class of drugs or another class of antibiotics, what happens is that your resistant bacteria won't die because it already has immunity. Just like how our body, if you take the jab, right, the COVID jab, your body is immune towards the COVID virus, right? So our bacteria can also be immune to the effects of drug. Okay, it subsequently creates this whole different class of bacteria that no longer respond to the medication that is supposed to be in your body. All right, and the scary thing is that it's not caused by antibiotics. That this resistant bacteria can flourish if you take things like what? Okay, metformin, right? We spoke about that just now. Things like metformin, gastric medicine. Okay, and all these things that you take on a long-term basis can actually change the type of bacteria in the body and make it even more resistant. Then it doesn't respond to standard medicine, really. And that is really a problem. Okay, drug-resistant bacteria is actually a societal problem right now. Okay, so what does this mean? So if we have a lot of these drug-resistant bacteria, it means that, okay, actually now it's quite a big thing because more than 60% of the population in some areas have multi-drug resistant bacteria in your gut, Means you have the bad bacteria that is immune towards 2 to 3 different antibiotics. So that's so crazy, right? It means that whatever normal antibiotic cannot work. All right, and you have to be on 3 to 4 different kinds of antibiotics, in order to overcome a very simple illness. All right, so it means that the body does not respond well. Okay, medication will be less effective when there is an infection. So maybe next time a very simple cough or a very single fever. Okay, maybe last time you take only 3 days to recover or 1 week. So next time, even like 1 month or so, your cough or whatever, okay, you will not go off because we do not know what is happening in the body. And apparently, with all these drugs, it changes the bad bacteria. Okay, your bad bacteria becomes stronger, and you cannot treat them easily. So the bad stuff in your body gets even more stronger than the good bacteria. So this is really a problem now. There's an over usage of medication, all right, and they're not using it wisely, and they're depending on them to curb a lot of our day-to-day ailment, all right. So it's more and more difficult to manage illnesses. Next time, a very simple cough may take you months to recover. A very simple sick or fever may take like, I don't know, 1 week or so. So this can potentially be a very big problem in society. In fact, it is already, okay? Multi-drug resistant. Okay, I think that's very scary. All right. So there are different stages of an imbalanced gut. Okay, so why am I relating to this? Because it's very important that you understand what does it mean. Okay? So if you have a very healthy gut in your body, right, supposedly it's supposed to be like this normal, right? And there are different stages of imbalance, or we call it dysbiosis, where there's a very different ratio of good and bad bacteria in your body. So this is just a gauge for you to know. Of course, there's no way for us to really know until you have illness. All right. So this is for those that are okay. This one is you can see some problem really. The good bacteria is not a lot. Okay, this one the bad bacteria is starting to be, slowly a lot. And this is third, and this is fourth. So this is where it's a bit dangerous, lah. Okay, your risk of disease increases. And many times, if a person is sick or they fall sick or they have some kind of illness, very likely they are along this scale. All right, and they are more susceptible to illness, infection, and things like that. Okay, different stage of an imbalanced gut. So maybe you can also technically kind of guess yourself, oh, what have I been eating? Have I been taking care of my gut? Then you kind of gauge, where you are in this graph. Are you number 1 or number 4? Okay? Now, so what can lead us to become a number 4? All right? There are a lot of reasons. So this is why I called for long antibiotic use. But now I think it may not just be antibiotic, it could be just other standard drug on the counter medicine. It could also potentially affect it. Okay, so if you smoke, alcohol consumption, a lot of stress, okay, certain race, if you age, unhealthy diet, and of course, environmental toxins, all these can lead to what we call the imbalanced gut, okay, which is the number 4 that we spoke about just now. Okay, so what is the impact? So all this bad bacteria, once it enter into your cell, it can create a lot of problems. Okay, so now they are saying that there's a link between infertility, okay, there's problem with the reproductive system, PCOS, okay, glucose homeostasis, you will have imbalance and inability to process glucose optimally. Okay, you have obesity issues, thyroid dysfunction, and it could even impact your brain health. Okay, so, ladies and gentlemen, the imbalanced gut is not a laughing matter. Okay, apparently it's backed up by so many studies, and this is one of them, that show us the potential effect of how all the bad bacteria that has become so powerful, okay, because of all the drugs that they're taking, could potentially affect our health in many various ways. Okay, can even lead to things like obesity also, right? So how do we overcome this problem? So clearly, it is a gut problem, right? So we have to do things that can help to enhance our gut to become stronger. All right, we want to feed our good bacteria and we want it to be stronger than the bad one so that it doesn't overtake the good bacteria. So you need to have a diverse microbiome. Okay, so this is why you say, when you look at a lot of gut related materials, you always talk about a diverse microbiome, right? Because the more good bacteria you have, okay, in different species and different number, means if you have a big population, your gut will be stronger and less prone to disruptions by external factors. So it will be stronger, and you will not be so easily disrupted. For example, if you have a very good gut, it won't get resistant easily. All right, means your good bacteria is strong, and even if you take medicine, the damaging effect won't be so bad in the gut. Okay, your gut will be very resilient. It can go back to original form, and you don't have the problem of drug resistant bacteria. Okay, and good bacteria have to be replenished every day. Okay, its turnover rate can be a few hours to 1 day. All right, so if you're angry right now, okay, some of your good bacteria will start to die. Okay, the effect can be as fast as 2 hours. If you're stressed, 2 hours, and sometimes it could be up to a day. So depending on what species of bacteria that is in your body. So generally, you cannot don't take good bacteria. Okay, it's not an optional thing anymore. It's something that you have to take every single day. Okay, because there's just too much changes in our body, and our gut is a very vulnerable and sensitive area of health. Okay, so good bacteria is very much like us human. Okay, except the fact that they cannot talk. All right, but they are living organisms, so they need nourishment. So they need food, obviously. Okay, good bacteria, they need to eat. So if they don't eat, they will die, and they die very fast. Okay, and you need a good environment, just like us human. Okay, we cannot be staying outside the street, right? You cannot be staying outside. You need a roof on our head. You need the aircon. Now summer so hot, right? So our gut, the bacteria also need some aircon. Okay, a good environment that you can try and you can stay alive. And of course, the more the merrier. Okay, many different species, the more different type of bacteria you have, the more diverse and the more resistant it is to falling sick. Okay, so the microbiome, generally you need a few things, okay, which is food. Okay, food is prebiotics. Okay, so prebiotics is probiotics, which is good bacteria. Okay, it will produce short chain fatty acid. So there's another term for this, which is called postbiotic. All right, this is a relatively new term where you need all three of these to produce a good environment for your body. Okay, and this is not just about gut health, because all these together is important to increase the GLP-1 in your body. All right, if you have followed through all our training before, even from Dr. Benjamin himself, he also states the importance of short chain fatty acid, because this is a precursor for your body to produce its own GLP-1. So this is a two-in-one kind of thing. You are killing two birds with one stone. Yes, I almost got it the other way around, right? So you're killing two birds with one stone. Not just only you increase your immunity, you make your body stronger, but you also make your body more efficient in producing GLP-1. So that's why you see those who have imbalanced that have obesity issue. Okay, because something is wrong somewhere that your body is not producing enough GLP-1. Very likely it's due to this, okay, or any of these factors here. So it's important that we have to take care of these three things. All right, so how do we take care of pre, pro, and post biotic? Okay, so we have talked about this, that gut health is metabolic health. All right. So a healthy gut would impact many parts of your body. All right, which I've spoke about just now, your brain, your heart, and all these things. So I think don't really have to spend time much talking about this, but from this graph, you know how important is our gut to our overall health. Okay, so the microbiome basically we need food. Okay, not just any type of food, but the right kind of prebiotic that will have a synergistic effect with the good bacteria that you have in your body. All right. So once you have that, you will have what we call short chain fatty acid. So you will also have a healthy amount of postbiotic in your body. So technically, Unicity covers all these things. All right. Of course, there isn't a direct postbiotic that you can take at the moment, but with both of these, you can have a healthy amount of postbiotic in your body. So with all that you are taking, you are closing a loop and you are strengthening your gut and also your metabolic health, right? Okay. So I want to talk about Bioslife S. You may be wondering, okay, yeah, I know this Bioslife S is fiber, but what kind of fiber it is, right? Because many people always think that Bioslife S is an unimportant product. It's something that can very easily replace. You can just go to the store or the drugstore and you can just buy whatever, fiber supplement. Okay, but it's not. All right. In fact, it is very special, and I call it a dual effect prebiotic. Means it has double effect. You want to say that? Okay, because these are not ordinary fibers. All right, that you have to extract them specifically because if you realize drinking Bioslife S is very thick, right? Okay, so it's not like for fun that we make it very jelly like. Okay, so when you drink, it's like so difficult to swallow, and it's not for that intention, but really because this viscosity is what make it super. All right, this vicious matrix is what feeds our our prebiotic probiotic. Sorry, yeah, it feeds our probiotic. Okay, our good bacteria love those kind of jelly-like stuff that comes out from fiber one. So that's why they call it soluble fiber. The good bacteria love to eat on it. And not just only it makes your good bacteria healthier, makes it sustain even more, it also have the ability to absorb excess carbohydrate. So that is the reason why Bioslife S is strategically to be taken before your food or during your meal. So that when you eat your carbohydrate, you can absorb it and it also supports healthy sugar levels. So I can tell you confidently, not every fiber that you take out there can give you this kind of result. All right, and we have very specifically taken some of our technology so that it expands a lot more viscous compared to other standard formulas, and it's able to have a dual effect to your gut and also to your sugar level. All right, so for those on Bioslife S, you will know that how it impacts, your sugar level as well. All right, so of course, specific soluble fiber that we have chosen, okay, will then ferment into short chain fatty acid, and this is what produces GLP-1 in the body. Okay, and it's important that we replenish this always because our GLP-1 levels will drop very drastically. So what we target is not just a GLP-1 in the morning after you take evening latte. So what happens during your lunchtime or your dinner? So does your GLP-1 just stop at morning? All right, so we want to have a sustained level of GLP-1 throughout the day. Okay, so that your body is able to utilize glucose a lot more efficiently. Okay, so this is what Dr. Benjamin has shared, okay, to further emphasize how Bioslife S can lead to increased GLP-1 in the body. And this is how it reduces insulin, okay, when you have sufficient soluble fiber, especially like Bioslife S in our body. Okay, I want to talk about this as well because I also have many questions about this. So Claudia, I have this Bioslife S, okay, and I also have live fiber. So can I replace Bioslife S with live fiber? Okay, since well, they are also fiber, right? So why I must take S? Why I cannot just take this live fiber? All right. So it's because they are different in a different way. So live fiber also is a prebiotic. As long as the fiber dissolves, okay, and it becomes jelly-like, it is a type of prebiotic already. Okay, and insoluble fiber are things like your green leafy vegetables. Okay, those you add water, it won't become a gel. So those are not soluble fiber. So you look at the formulation, there are some of these prebiotic, okay, but it is very different. Okay, it has FOS, papaya, and 24 different herbs. And what it does is that it doesn't really impact your sugar as much. Okay, because this formula doesn't form that viscous formula like you see in Balsaf S. Okay, the Balsaf S, it thickens very quickly, right? It's so that it can trap sugar as fast as possible. Okay, but this doesn't gel up. Those who have tried live fiber, you understand, right? If you drink live fiber on its own, it doesn't thicken like Balsaf S. So it is a bit jelly, but it doesn't thicken like S so quickly. And when you drink, it is still quite like smooth like water like that. Unless you mix with your protein drink, then you can see the difference. But actually, it is more targeted towards strengthening your mucus layer. All right, and this is very important, especially you see here. Okay, for a healthy condition, you need to have a very good mucus layer to trap all the bad stuff so that it doesn't go into your gut lining here. All right, so why enough prebiotic is important? Okay, because okay, this is a bit scary, lah. Huh? A dietary fiber deprived gut. All right, so if your gut don't have enough fiber, it will actually degrade. Means this thing will become thinner. All right, it will degrade your gut mucus line. So how? All right, what is the connection? That your bacteria need to eat, right? So if your bacteria don't have enough fiber in the body, it will start eating on your own mucus lining. All right, bacteria will eat the mucus lining of your gut if you don't have enough prebiotic to feed it. Okay, so your gut lining will become thinner and thinner. Okay, meaning if this happens continuously, the eating of our own mucus lining will cause it to become thinner, and because of that, your gut integrity becomes weak. Toxins and bad bacteria will start to thrive and take over. All right, so this is where it gets dangerous, where your bad bacteria become very strong. So you need to make sure that your mucus lining is always thick. Okay, that you must feed your good bacteria. Okay, as much as you have your probiotic, you need to have enough prebiotics so that you don't compromise your own gut. Right? So a diet lacking of fiber starves the good bacteria, and it will force forcing our own mucus layer to degrade so that your good bacteria can survive. So this is not a good thing, right? And you can see it through here. So those who are diabetic or those who have some form of condition, their mucus lining is is a lot thinner, okay, because of this reason. So you have things like inflammation, decreased immune, all these problems start to happen, right? Okay, so this is why I have always encouraged a cleansing program if you can do it, okay, for at least once or twice a month, just to clear and to replenish your gut. All right, but if not, then you can also take like live fiber. Actually, live fiber is something you can take every day, frankly, and aloe vera also. But this one, once you take your first month, or the second month, you can just take it like twice to 3 times a week. Okay, so if you can't commit to 3, at least take 1 or 2 if you can. All right, so that's really important. So third, okay, I want to focus on good bacteria. Right, we still have 6 minutes. Yeah, I try to be as concise as I can. So we need to have as much good bacteria as possible, right? Because more good bacteria ferment more of those prebiotics, then it will stimulate more GLP-1 in the gut. Okay, so healthy gut, you have a lot of bacteria species, okay, a good variety. A diabetic gut has a lot lesser. You have a lot more bacteria that can produce short-chain fatty acid, but a diabetic gut has high bad bacteria that promote inflammation. So harms the gut and inhibits your short-chain fatty acid production. Okay, and a healthy gut have high insulin sensitivity, is efficient to take up glucose, but your diabetic gut have low insulin sensitivity. Okay, in fact, it will be resistant to insulin and causing a person to have high blood sugar levels. Alright, so with a healthy gut, you have proper GLP-1 and insulin response. Okay, but those that impaired GLP-1 levels, okay, very likely also have something wrong with their gut. So it's important that we cannot just target on the blood sugar itself. We have to also look into the health of our gut, okay, because it has a connection between diabetes as well. Okay, so we need to have specific strains of bifidobacterial lactobacilli because these two are very specific class that is known to improve insulin sensitivity and lower blood sugar. Okay, and interestingly, both of these bacterial strains respond very well to the prebiotic in bile starch F and live fiber. Okay, because I did research and it says that like things like guar gum, all the inulin and everything that is in our fiber, they respond like it's a synergistic effect with this species. It's like their favorite food. All right, like how we love to eat, rice. Okay, so for them it's like, oh, when they see our formula, they will eat a lot, so they will grow even more, flourish even more in your gut. All right, so this is a really good coincidence. You can put it that way. Okay, and I want to stress that our probiotic formula is not an ordinary formula. Okay, because some people may think that there's so many probiotics in the market, right? Okay, so there's this thing. Okay, we know about prebiotic and probiotic, and usually both of these things are separate, right? But our formula actually has both of them combined. So I think someone asked me before, our formula has the prebiotic, right? They say this is actually very good. And now there's this new term in the market called Synbiotics, right? Now there are new formulas coming out about how their probiotic is different. So if you see a formula that has both of these, means it's a different level already. It's called Synbiotic. So next time when you tell your friend, okay, our university formula is not a probiotic, it's a Synbiotic. You will impress all your friends. Okay, you'll be like, oh, what is this? All right, a new term. Okay, so how is this different? Okay, if I just have a very normal kind of probiotic formula versus a Synbiotic formula. Okay, so of course, if you only have those probiotic without Synbiotic, your good bacteria cannot survive that well. Okay, once it's in your body, it faces a lot of challenge. It may not be able to survive or survive competition. Okay, because in your gut there's a lot of bad bacteria also, so they may not survive. So a formula that has Synbiotics has a much better survival, and they grow a lot faster also, and they can multiply better. So if you have a near probiotic, you may be limited. You may not be able to produce short chain fatty acid that much. Okay, and it's limited by what is in your gut. Okay, but if you're Synbiotic, then obviously you have optimized and potentially higher production of this short chain fatty acid. Okay, and also mere probiotics is impact on your gut bacteria support is not that good. So if you have a Synbiotic, because of the prebiotic effect that goes along with the formulation, you give it, fuel for gut lining cell, and you maintain a much healthier, mucus layer in your body. So that's why I always choose for a more superior formula, and there is a difference. Okay, so if you choose a formula that has a Synbiotic component, is definitely a much better advantage compared to just normal probiotic formula. Okay, so this is our formulation. In Singapore, we have 11 bacterial strains, and we have this thing called prebiotic. Okay, we have FOS, and for this is the Malaysia version. Okay, we have inulin, and we have 4 bacterial strains. So regardless how many strains you have, it is actually pretty good, because I went to the drugstore and I see a lot of probiotics out there. They don't have FOS inside, or they don't have prebiotic component. So because of that, if you take, you may not even, a lot of these bacterial strains may not even survive. Okay, so Unicity is considered a Synbiotic formula where we can deliver high delivery rate, and whatever that we take will go into your body. So I think this is a very important guarantee when you take your probiotic supplement. Right? Okay. So with this, okay, we have learned and we have studied the importance and how all these products, when we take them together, produces closes the loop, okay, and it enhances and strengthens our gut so much more. Okay, in fact, I think these are not to say very like special product in the sense where these are products that you have already been taking. But I guess you cannot see the link or the relationship between wow, what makes it so special. Okay, so that's why I say feel great is important, it's great. But if you have just one or two of these complementary products on the side, can really boost your overall health profile by many more times. Okay, so that's why I highly encourage everybody that you should be at least on one live fiber or probiotic or to be on aloe vera. If you can, that would be even better. So to really elevate the whole profile, the health profile of your body. Okay, so with this, it actually links together with the GLP ecosystem. So the microbiome is actually in line with the GLP ecosystem that we spoke about today. So it all complement one another. It's all back to the same narrative. That's why it's important that we include gut into our day-to-day routine. All right, so I'm sure people must be wondering now. Okay, I didn't talk about uni mate today. So where does uni mate fit into the picture? Okay, so why you didn't mention it? Okay, because today's topic is about prebiotic, probiotic, and synbiotic, right? And of course, we did talk about postbiotic as well. So because uni mate is not prebiotic or fiber, so it doesn't go through this whole round. Okay, but uni mate's major role is to stimulate L cells directly to increase GLP-1 levels. So it doesn't go through them. So what makes uni mate more efficient is that it straight away you go to stimulate and increases GLP-1 more. Okay, that's why Dr. Benjamin himself has also shown the study how it increases our genetic expression and things like that. So uni mate also plays a very important role, but not to the gut, but through other means. Okay, so last but not least, this is just a very quick summary of how to incorporate all the products I spoke about just now. So in the morning, you should take empty stomach. You should take probiotics. Okay, we want our good bacteria to go into our body first thing in the morning, so that you already have that colonized in your gut. Then after that, you can really mate, so they don't break fast. So it's okay. Okay, so before lunch or maybe when you're going to take lunch, you can actually combine live fiber in any of this combination. Either lunch or dinner is really up to you. Or you want to take during your eating hour, it's also okay. But generally, I think you can mix it. I do feel that it's quite effective that way. All right. You can absorb more sugar also, so why not? All right. So before sleep, you can also take aloe vera. Okay. So for those who are on aloe vera, okay, you can take them on long term after your first month detox. You can just take them like once or twice a week, just to uh, get your gut moving. All right, so this is just a very general way of taking, and I'm sure that many of you are already taking most of this in your day-to-day. All right, okay, so I want to emphasize this again, that gut health is metabolic health. All right, it's so important, and I think especially with what I've presented, we have learned that it's not just about immunity already. Okay, that gut health is linked to everything. Your brain, your sugar, obesity is just too important that we cannot neglect this part of our health. And those who are on feel great, it's good. It's also a good time to encourage them to take some other supplementary products such as prebiotic, live fiber or Barsa, probiotic and live fiber. All right. Okay. So thank you very much for your kind attention today. All right. Right. So we are done for today's presentation. Okay. So yeah, now we are open for a time of there's a lot of hands raised. Okay. So let me check this. Okay. So Lisa Bromley asks, is taking probiotic plus live fiber encouraged for long-term use or only 2 to 3 times a year like 10-15? Actually, probiotic plus live fiber is encouraged for long-term use. Okay, you can take that always, and you don't have to limit it. In fact, I encourage you to take both of them together. All right, I think it's even better for daily use. So how can we help someone who has become very dependent on laxative? Is there a way to use synbiotic products to gently wean off harmful laxative and support their natural digestive function? Yeah, definitely. Okay, of course, some people may say that our product is also like a kind of laxative, right? Okay, but it's very different. drug, laxative, and herb related, they're very different mechanism. And of course, drug is a lot more, it's man-made, right? So man-made laxative, its effect is also very, very shocking to our body, I would say. Okay, because it's created to stimulate, to give you instant effect. So because of that, their gut flora is already like those who are long term on those over the counter one can actually make their gut, gut microbiome to be very deprived. So if those people, you can definitely transition them. If they're on laxative, you can transition them to aloe vera. So they can be starting on aloe vera for like a month. Then from there, you slowly try to phase off. Because once the person has good gut health, right, if they are taking enough prebiotics and they have enough probiotics, naturally their gut, they won't really have a problem going to the toilet one. Because all these good bacteria also help to push and to flush out waste from your body. Right? So for me, I also experience this. If I have enough, if I take live fiber and probiotics, right, I realize I don't really have constipation problem. I think it does help. So aloe vera I definitely think also just to give that additional thing. So yeah, definitely you can transition them. I think I recommend it also. And they can take probiotics together. I think it's even better. Okay, so we can wean them off, yeah, and to support their natural function. That should be the objective. Mm. No, synbiotic is not postbiotic. Okay, postbiotic is what your probiotic produce is a byproduct of um you see even I also get confused. Probiotic. Okay. Pre, pro and post. Okay, post is the result of that. So it's not the same. Okay, synbiotic is a combination of pre and pro. Okay, just to clarify, it's just synbiotics or no is the number one. Synbiotics, not symbiotics. Very different meaning also. So it's synergistic, you put both together in one formula. So you call it symbiotic, right? Yes, we recommend to use probiotics before uni mate. I personally think that's better because your gut is already ready. So when you take your uni mate or whatever, right, it just gets absorbed a lot more as well, right? Okay, is the probiotics and prebiotics micro-encapsulated? As usually say that most of them do not survive and they're in contact with your stomach acid and do not reach the gut. Yes, ours is micro-encapsulated. So of course, you can also use this as a reason, which we also do give. Microencapsulated is a major reason because it can survive the gastric, but the prebiotic inside can make it flourish even more. Not so much at the GI level, at the gastric, because I do think that the microencapsulating technology helps to pass it. But once you go into your gut, what happens? Okay, because in your gut, right, there's a lot of bacteria on. So if you don't, you can have microencapsulated technology, but if you don't have the prebiotics inside, right, if you don't have the synbiotic formula, your good bacteria go into your gut, it may not be able to compete because there's a lot of bacteria in the gut, good and bad one especially. So they're all competing for nutrients. So if in your gut you already have a predisposed prebiotic, so when it goes inside, it can flourish, it can eat on it immediately and it can multiply very fast. Because what we want our prebiotic to do is to dominate your gut as fast as possible and it can colonize your gut. So of course, definitely if you have a synbiotic formula, it is a lot more advantageous with that. Okay, we want our bacteria to multiply quickly. So it will make it multiply a lot more quicker compared to your pure probiotic formula. Okay, so after 1 month use of aloe vera, you said that just once or twice a week. How many capsules per consumption? Yes, after 1 month, you don't have to take it every day, the aloe vera. Okay, you only take it when you want to do your cleansing during the first month. So when it comes to long-term intake, 1 week, you can just take 2 to 3 times. Okay, like maybe Monday, Wednesday, up to you, Monday, Thursday, or if you feel that that day your toilet isn't that good or you eat a lot, not enough fiber that you can take. Okay, because for us, aloe vera is not meant to be something that you want your body to be dependent. Okay, we do not want your body to be dependent. We want it to be able to move naturally also. So you maybe that one bottle can last you 2 months, something like that. Then when it comes to your second term of detox, which is maybe June or July, then you take that, you finish that one bottle in 1 month again. So that's how we do detox, right? 1 month you can finish up that, and you just have to do that like twice a year. Okay, so aloe vera is meant to do that. We're talking about long term. But life fiber is different. Life fiber is something to take every day. In fact, I encourage you to take every day if you can. All right, so aloe vera is something that you can take as a companion product. Mm. Okay, so Biosci Plus helps with microbiome. Yes, it does also, but unfortunately, we don't have Biosci C Plus anymore. Okay, it's all Biosci S. So probiotic can be taken on the long term, unlike aloe vera. Yes, yes, yeah, because aloe vera, because its effect is quite strong, you see. So we do not want, like I said, to be dependent. Probiotic, please, you're encouraged to take every day. In fact, your good bacteria die like every day. Okay, so best to take it every day to replenish the good bacteria in your gut. So does fast life tea break your fast? And does it spike insulin level? Is it okay to consume about 1 to 2 hours after we eat to give the extra energy and boost in the afternoon? Okay, it does break your fast. Okay, if you take E and you need mate, it will break. Okay, it will break. So depends on what is your objective. If that day you are really tired and you want to just take that in the morning, so it will break a bit loud, see, because the calorie will have exceeded the tea. We can still take that combination during the lunch. If you feel at lunchtime you need that dose of energy, you can take E and mini mate together. So that will be better. Like, it doesn't affect your morning break, but it doesn't spike insulin level, okay? Because whatever that's inside, we have already studied to ensure that it doesn't cause an effect. Okay, in fact, it should help us to regulate our insulin levels. Okay, so whatever we use stevia, okay, so it shouldn't be giving that kind of effect, like spiking your sugar level. What I mean is Biosci Plus, not you mean vitamin C? Vitamin C have no connection with fiber, with our topic today lah. Okay, so vitamin C is more for immune function specifically, but it doesn't really play a role in the microbiome narrative that we have just now. Okay, so yeah, good. Happy to see a lot of questions and queries. So yes, you can, if you have any questions after this, if you're curious, you can always send me an email, and more than happy to get back to you on this. Okay, so isn't it exciting? I think this whole gut thing is really, it has exceeded my expectation. Every single time when I look at new research, it just blow my mind about how impactful it is. No wonder it's having so much hype. Okay, it's not just hype, by the way. Okay, there's a lot of science behind it. So we will continue on this and to uncover even more interesting discovery and how it can boost your food experience. Okay, because that's the whole objective. All right, so thank you so much. Oh, by the way, next month, all right, I'll be going to Singapore. Yay! Okay, so we haven't had the poster ready yet, but it will be on the 17th of July. Okay, let me double check. Correct. All right, so we're going to have something really interesting. So, yeah, be sure to go to our physical session, right, that time. Okay, so last question. I missed the answer to this question. Is taking probiotic plus live fiber encouraged for long-term use? No, yeah. I think I answered right. Actually, it's encouraged for long-term use. Yeah, you can take it every day, no problem. Mm. Does it mean not all detox supplements out there has lactobacillus and not all helps to produce GLP-1, right? Yeah, actually detox supplement outside, a lot of them are just to purge in general, so they don't have any good bacteria. So if you want a good bacteria, you have to take like probiotics and stuff like that. So a lot of them they don't do it. Yeah, it's purely just to go to the toilet only, and they can oftentimes be quite harsh to our body. So if they go with the detox program together with what you have, I think if they can add a probiotic in their detox, it's even better. Okay, great. So looking forward to see all of you on the 17th in Singapore, and I'm sure we're going to have more on this topic. All right, thank you very much. See you around. Bye.